gym already?
I haven't, man.
You haven't?
No, I'll probably go later. Go later here in a little bit.
Yeah, me too. What is up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the OAP podcast. I'm your host, Brandon. Joining me is my beautiful co-host,
Jackie.
and joining us is a very special guest, a guy that I am very intrigued to talk to, bro. I'm very interested in a lot of things, but more so your mindset. But I'll let you introduce yourself and kind of what you do and certain things like that. So, go ahead.
What's up, guys? I am Francisco Chavez. I am 33 years old. I live here in Idaho Falls. I am the owner of Imperial Cleaning, which is a commercial cleaning company here in Idaho Falls, and I've got 4 kids. Been with my wife for 12 years, married for 8, and so we're just on that grind of trying to figure it out, trying to just have fun and just move forward. So
Yeah,
happy to be here.
it's awesome, dude. Okay, so first time I saw you ever in my life was at a wedding that we went to, right? And you were, yeah.
Oh, yeah, because we confused him with someone else.
Yeah, we confused you with someone else.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And you were, I think you might have been holding a little baby. I don't know if it was your little daughter at the time or something, but you were there and I was like, I think this guy is someone I might know. And then I asked my mom, and then she's like, no, that's not who we thought you were at the time. So then I re-saw you at the gym, dude. And I was like...
It was weird because we saw you and then, I don't know if it was like the next day we went to the gym or something.
Yeah.
We saw you again.
Yeah.
We were like, what the heck?
We're like, damn, what the hell is up with this guy? Why is he all over the place?
I'm like, I heard you confused me for the wrong guy. Just kidding.
Yeah. And I was like, So then I was just like, you know what, I'm going to go up and talk to him. So then I went up to you and talked to you. I don't even know what I said, to be honest. I forgot what I said, but...
At the gym? Oh, man. What? Yeah. No, it was cool, though, because I was like, I saw you guys. Like, I think anytime I see a couple at the gym grinding together, I'm like, that's pretty cool. Because it's like, it's tough. It's not easy. Everyone thinks, like, couple workouts are easy. They're not. They're not easy only because...
And you have to wait.
You have to wait.
Change
Change the weight.
weight.
But it's like you're wanting them to have it. Like, it's... Subconsciously, you're trying to make it so that they're having a good workout when you kind of sacrifice yours. And so it ends up being like this whole mental game of like, you just get frustrated. But no. But yeah, I remember seeing you guys there. And I do remember it. I can't remember what you said either. But no, I'm glad you came up, man.
Yeah, something along the lines of like, hey, dude, what's something? I just said, hey, dude. And then we started talking about, at the time I was working part-time for another company. Mm-hmm. And, then you started talking to me about how you kind of started your own company, and then I was like, At that point, I didn't have the podcast yet, but I knew that I was going to start a podcast, and I was like, that's a future guest I'm going to have on.
Oh, that's sweet.
And then, yeah. And so then when I started the podcast, I listened to a podcast of a friend of ours, mm-hmm. Scarface, and it was one of his like early episodes. And then I listened to that podcast, and I was like, he has a sick ass story. So then when I have him on, I'm gonna talk to him about certain things.
Oh, dude, I like that.
So that's kind of how everything came around, dude.
That's crazy. No, and it's crazy because your mom, I didn't realize who your mom was, but she posted. Yeah. You guys had the baby shower. Was it a baby shower you guys had?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Your mom posted that, and I was like, yeah, they did a lot, and I was like. Oh, I was like, everything just clicks. I was like, dang. I was like, dude, I've known your mom for a minute from the bank when I used to work at the bank.
It's surprising how many people know my mom.
Dude, shout out to her, dude. She is seriously like a really kind person. Like just she's so positive, and she always posts. Like I love seeing her post about your sister, your brother, and just your whole family. She's always like just being inspirational and positive, and I think that's huge. And I think that transpires straight into why sometimes we don't see it like, oh, it's weird that I'm this way, but it's like, well, look at your parents, and you kind of analyze them, and they're like open and positive, and you're like, oh, okay, that comes. Yeah,
I definitely realize that I'm a very social person, so the social, I don't know.
Social butterfly over here.
Yeah, the social butterfly that I am. It comes definitely from my mom and my dad, because like they know a ton of people, and it's surprising because like as a little kid you're like you don't know, but then you grow up and then they're like, oh, you're this person's son, and I'm like, yeah, that's my mom or that's my dad, and it's like, damn, I didn't know you knew this person. And then now, with the podcast, it's like some guests that I have, they know my mom and they're like, dang, dude, that's your mom? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, that's sick. So shout out to my mom. But bro, your story. So you own a business, right?
Mm-hmm.
And kind of want to know, we were just talking about how you had a baby when you were 18, right?
Mm-hmm.
When did the business idea come in mind? Was it right away when you had the baby? You know how sometimes people have a kid and they're like, oh my gosh, I need to figure something out? Or was it years after that you're like, hey, I need to do something?
I think it was probably a couple years after that, because I feel like it's already, well, I guess it was almost, I would say it was halfway on that one because I was at the bank. I was working at the Shiloh Inns at that time. So I was a front desk manager for the Shiloh Inns.
Yeah, look at this guy.
And dude, that was such a wild ride, man. That working at a hotel at such a young age, it's like you experience a lot of things, a lot of different people,
Yeah.
a lot of different cultures. And so I think, and I just saw her again, but the manager there, I applied to be the shuttle bus driver. And then she really ended up liking me. She's like, hey, and then she's like, oh, but you're not 18. I'm like, no. She was like, oh, you have to be 18 to drive the shuttle bus. I was like, oh, she's like, but you can work the front desk. And I'm like, yeah, sure, I can do that. So I think working at the Shiloh really helped me build my character almost, kind of like just be able to talk to people. And so from there, I was working, I was working at the Shiloh, and then Kara had Silas. And from there, it was like, okay, we got to do something different, So then I applied at Wells Fargo, started working at Wells Fargo forever, and it's like you feel like, hey, I'm in a good position, I'm working at a bank, that's kind of where you'd want to be, and then it's just my sister dated a guy that had a cleaning company. So we started talking about, I was like, hey, we should probably buy a house. We should save up to buy a house. And a year after working at Wells, I started working for other cleaning companies. And it was like, again, because I'm personable, for me, it was like, hey, I want to get to know the managers, the owners. And I'm like, hey, how's the quality of work that I'm doing? Anything I can change? And pretty much it was like, my relationship with these guys was like, hey, if we did this, how much would you charge us? And I'm like, I'm not the owner. So then I was like, I should do this for myself.
Yeah.
So that's really what transpired. Things was like, I knew I wanted to, like, if in that moment working for those cleaning companies, I'm like, dude, if I'm putting this much effort in for these guys that don't really even value me, I might as well just go do it for myself. So that's kind of what helped transpire things, was like, it was just going to be a little side hustle. So
that makes sense. Do you think, I don't know. Do you think that owning a business was always something that you wanted to do?
Yeah, because I remember being in, I went to Rocky Mountain Middle School, and I just remember always there was a class that I don't know what class it was, but it was always looking out towards the parking lot, and it was like I would watch the old school like Dodge Rams come through, and I'm like, dude, I want to have one of those one day.
Yeah.
And then people's friend or people in my class, their parents were like always talking about, oh, my dad owns this and my dad owns that.
Right.
And culture, I never grew up that way. Like to me, that wasn't my parents. Super hardworking people that worked at potato plants, and so I just wasn't used to that. And I think at some point I was like, someday, and you're just a little kid, you're young, so you don't ever like you're just excuse me, you're just thinking these ideas of like. Some maybe someday I'll be this,
Yeah, because I asked because I've heard many people sometimes say like the entrepreneur you're kind of born with it, but then I've also heard that some people transfer into that person as the years pass by and as certain experiences come around, right?
You're right.
And that's what kind of makes an entrepreneur. But I don't know. To me, it's always been interesting to ask that because there's like when we're little kids, teachers always ask us like, what do you want to do when you grow up? What do you want to be, right? And it's always like, oh, I want to be a doctor, an astronaut, this and that, right? But then as the years pass by, that kind of dies down,
It does.
And so people get stuck in that rut of like everyday working. So to be in that and then to kind of get out of that, while having a baby providing for a wife and the baby, and then, you know, buying a house and figuring that out, that's a hard thing to do at a very young age, right? Because how old were you when you started your business?
I was, I believe I was 24.
So that's 5 years, 6 years after you had your kid, your baby. So I mean, you know, that's a lot, dude. And the reason I ask is for me, it's like I'm in the same boat as what kind of you were in that time, you know, similar. I wouldn't say same, but similar boat, you know. And I'm like, dang, what do I need to do to kind of figure something out? And that's where I'm at.
Yeah, and I think, dude, I just feel like the mentality of things. I think the biggest thing is the mentality that you have coming in. Like now, like for me, I feel like it always takes me a lot longer to connect those dots. Be like, oh, hey, these are the things I should put in place.
Yeah.
But I feel like you at a young age, you're 21, so it's
Yeah.
like the fact you're, you know, and it makes sense because like I think around that time frame too. For me, I was like, okay, my life is here. These are things I have to kind of put in place. But, you know, I feel like you're having these different thoughts, you're taking these different actions, and I really feel like that's what's transpired you into doing this more, to you believing in like, hey, there is something here. So that doesn't just come from like, oh, I should. It more it's like, hey, I feel like this is something that's going to transpire into something that you are going to build, and it's going to go for a long time, because I feel you've got that energy about you where you just got that right mindset, man. So no, you're on the way.
Yeah, and it's interesting, right? Because I like to talk to people who are advanced in life from where I'm at, you know. I like to be the old rusty tool in the shed, you know, next to the shiny new tools.
Yeah.
So I like to pick their brain because, you know, at some point everyone's brain switch, right? There's a switch that happens.
Yeah.
And some people, unfortunately, don't have that switch or don't get to turn that switch on. And what do you think you have found in those people that don't turn that switch on? What do you think it is?
I think, you know what, it's just self-doubt. It really is just self-doubt, where it's like, I have a lot of friends, and, you know, I know a lot of people where it's like they want, you know, they see, like we all have a vision, right? We have like, hey, I can be this person.
Yeah.
And it's always that self-doubt. But what if, you know, it's like what if I mess up? What if I fail? What if people find out that, you know, I didn't do good? And I'm like, dude, you just have to take that leap of faith and, you know, trust yourself and trust your instincts that, you know, I really feel like that's it, man. It's just self-doubt and just, you know, that, like you always hear, you know, afraid to fail. And, you know, sometimes you just gotta be willing to fail to find out like where you truly are gonna, you know, lie in for your future, man.
Yeah. What are some of the fails that you had beginning when you first began your business?
Shoot, where do I start, man? There is so many. I think just, you know, people don't quite understand how many processes you have to, like, it's all about processes and procedures that you put in place. And so, you know, going into that, it was just like, I don't want to be a business owner. And I think sometimes just claiming that you know, that you had it, you're like, sweet. But it's like, to truly build something, a strong foundation, it requires you to really be knowledgeable, especially, you know, be knowledgeable in what you're doing.
Yeah.
So I don't feel like I was, when I first started, I just felt like there were so many things I wasn't sure about. It's like, how do I even, like, I walked into a building and it's like, how do I even bid this? You know, how do I even do this? And it's like, but I feel like there was, like I said, there was so many things. I just didn't quite know my numbers. I didn't know, you know, even just understanding, you know, what the cost of my materials were. Like, hey, this is kind of like projecting numbers, knowing how to read my statements every month, my bank statements, my financials and my finances. And I feel like looking back on it now, and I haven't even thought about it, just looking back on it now, it's like when my accountant every month hands me all my financial reports for every single month. Now I truly understand them. Like, hey, this is, we're doing good, or we need to adjust this, or we spent too much money here, versus then it was like, I guess there's something coming in, right? So I think just
back then it's like, okay, I made $100 more than I spent.
Yeah, you're just like, nice,
okay, that's
dude.
good. I made $100, but now it's like, dang, dude, like we spent a little bit we spent $1,000 too much, you know?
Being frugal, just having a good understanding of, you know, what it's going to take. Cause for me, it's like, now it's long term. Like everything has to be long term. It's not about right now, especially like, again, going back to the family. Like I want to make sure that what I build in Imperial is something that's going to stick around forever. And I know that in order for that to happen, I have to have all those foundations right and everything. You know, it's not going to be perfect, right? Yeah. It's not going to be perfect, but I know that it's going to be able, like COVID, it survived COVID, right? Obviously it was a big need in there, but I'm like, if I was able to keep that strong.
Well, I think that COVID was, you know, and of course there's a lot of sensitivity within that topic, but I think that there's a lot of businesses that thrived through COVID, and cleaning, as far as what you've built in your business, I think that COVID didn't hinder that business at all. If anything, I think it built more of a stronger foundation towards it, because you will find how strong your foundation is when certain things come and try to knock it down. And COVID, you know, unfortunately, there was a lot of businesses that were shut down, and you know, some of them just won't come back. So that's the sad part. But there's a lot of businesses and people that thrived through that, you know, through that year and a half, 2 years.
It's true, man. No, and it was a scary situation, because, you know, it's like we were worried that a lot of places were going to close down. You know, like, okay, if this closes down, what is our goal? What are we going to do with our employees and whatnot? But thankfully, man, you know, it was one of those things where, you know, just being, also, I think, looking at it too, it's like, even if you have a business but the structure isn't there, you're like, hey, we're going through a pandemic right now, so it's like, if you're going to be involved in this, you have to be willing. Like, I think you have to have been already like in the game for a little bit, so that you were able to understand, like, hey, these are all the expectations that are coming down, whether it was from the CDC, you know, which is everybody saying, hey, make sure that you're doing this and this and this and that. And then especially for doctors' offices, you know, they had their own, hey, these are our specifications that have to happen. Luckily for us, I was like, those are things that we've always had in place regardless. Like understanding, you know, like I said, truly understanding, like, hey, this is my industry, so I have to understand how it's gonna, you know, how we're gonna be able to put in our part in order to be able to be not only successful, but also helpful for everybody else. Because it's like I said, it was some crazy times, man. You know, I remember we were to Jackson out in Wyoming, and we cleaned this mansion, and I just remember walking in for the first time and just being kind of scared, like, because it was our first COVID job. I'm like, it's kind of scary, dude. Like, what happens if I get sick? Like, what if, like, it was just that, I'll never forget that little fear of, dude, this is, you know, this is for real. Like, I can't take, you know, you got to take this seriously. And
I mean, at first I was like, man, are we going to turn to zombies? Because I've always wanted, like, I'm sure I'm not the only one, and I hope I'm not the only one, but I've always been like, if this world goes to shit and there's zombies, I know exactly what I'm going to do. You know, I'm going to prep my bag and this and that. You know, I'm going to fight as long as I can and this and that. And I'm going to go to Sportsman and get a gun and then go to Cabela's and get some boots from there. You know, like, I make this scenario in my head. So I was like, man, are we going to turn to zombies? And at first it was scary. You know, I was like, damn, like, this is crazy. And then after that, I was like, oh, man. You know, you start figuring things out. And you're like, oh, fuck. Why did we have to get through that? You know?
That was such a weird time, man. It seriously was such a weird time where, like, yeah, just going in, like, even sneezing at a grocery store. It was like,
the worst was when people, dude, came up to you and were like, hey, put your mask on. And I'm like, dude, I'm out in the free, you know, like, I'm walking.
Let me be.
Yeah,
let me be.
But how did Imperial come to mind? Because I know Imperial stands for Empire, but Imperial is, what is it? It's not, is it Mexican? Is it a Mexican word? Latin?
No. The reason I chose Imperial and the lion was just because I knew, I was like, I just wanted it to be something like a strong name, right? And it's just like, and I wanted to embody that. And at first I'm like, okay, the lion means what? Strength, you know, leader. Imperial, you just hear Imperial and you just think of, like, hey, that's whether it's like, how do I describe it? just like an important place, right? Like you hear like an Imperial Palace, you look up all these things and it's like, hey, it's almost like it means something strong, right? So I wanted something that I could embody, and it's like I feel like the person I am today. Like if you look at me,
you don't look like a regular business owner, dude. I'll tell you that.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, you look like one of those business owners that you're like, holy shit, this guy. He's not just a business owner. He works out. You can obviously tell you're very fit, and the way your mindset, the way you think, you can look. Okay, this guy's sharp.
I appreciate that. And so, like I said, I really wanted to embody that and like, lead, lead by example. So that's like that's what came to mind. I was like, hey, when you hear Imperial, it's because we're not just we don't just take. At the beginning, I was like, hey, I'll to build a business, you have to be able to take on whatever customer just so that you can gain that experience. But like you visualized me coming on your show. Before you even had the podcast really going, you had to have like I really feel like in this life you have to be able to visualize
100%.
your future. Like hey, I see it, I'm gonna push for it, and that's what I knew at some point when I was like when I started building Imperial. I'm like at some point I know it's gonna be it's gonna be a good thing for me, and it's gonna be a strong. Like I said, I'm going back to strong, dude, because it really is something that has.
Were you sorry to cut you off.
No, you're good.
I'll tell you a funny story about the name Imperial though. I used to have when I was 18, 19, I wanted to start my own painting company because that's what I do for a living. I paint. So then I was like, what name do I want? And because I was doing MLM at the time, the business name for my MLM was Imperial Networks. And I was like, I know exactly what I'm going to name the company. I was like Imperial Painting. And then I saw some guy driving down the road, and he had the name Imperial Painting. I was like, well, fuck that guy. He took my name. So then I never used the name. But then I still have my email for Imperial Networks. And I was looking at it the other day, and I was like, Imperial. Because the way I thought about it was like building an empire. Mm-hmm. So with the MLM, you're building networks, right? And so Imperial. An empire networks.
That's exactly
building an empire of networks. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of the thought process for Imperial. But I first heard it on a song by a Mexican group. It's called Soldado Imperial, and it's a cool song. But
I'll have to check it out. But no, man, that's exactly right, dude. It's building an empire, man. That's what it is with Imperial. It's just like. Yeah. Building it from the ground up, and
empire can't. Empire is not a bad thing. I think empire can be a little bit of a taunting word, but like you can build an empire within your family, and you can build a very strong, family foundation.
Yeah.
Break a lot of the chains that may have hindered your family from the past or whatever. So.
And I believe in that big time.
But visualizing, how did I was gonna ask you, I just ran away. Visualizing, how did you come up with that? Like, were you reading a lot of books when you started your business, and that's kind of how the concept of visualizing comes in? Or where does your wisdom come from?
I think I wasn't reading a ton of books, and I still don't read a ton of books. I'm an audiobook guy, and I don't. But
you're one of those, huh?
I'm one of those, dude. I don't. But I think it came from my different influences, like people in my life from a young age. One of my best friends, OCL, when I was coming up, he was working at Wells Fargo, and, it was just somebody that kind of, would put certain ideas, like just, not necessarily business ideas at the time, but in later years as we worked together, he did. But as a young age, it was kind of like just, and I had a lot of different people that influenced me. Just he's one of them that come to mind immediately at a young age. Of dude, just kind of like that big brother, like, hey man, you shouldn't be doing this, shouldn't be doing that. Yeah. But it's just it's easy at a young age to veer off and say, well, I'm gonna go fuck off with all my friends and do stupid shit, and you know
what they say, that use your 20s to do everything and anything you can. Well, which I don't know if I agree with that completely. I think there's certain lines I'm like, well, you don't want to be doing meth either,
That's true. Well, fuck, I got some crazy. No, dude, like I said, I think you have to really pick, like at a young age, where is exactly like, because I think life experiences, you should always pursue the scary things in life. Like, hey, this obviously not stupid shit. Like, don't do something stupid.
Don't like run off. Don't like jump off a bridge.
Don't jump off a bridge. Don't, like, hey, don't do anything. But I'm just saying, like, the fearful stuff, like shit that's gonna make you grow, like that. I think that stuff is so important. So I feel like OCL was that type of person where he would just put certain thoughts in my head, like, hey, don't be doing this. And I remember I actually talked to him the other day because I was probably 14. Yeah, I had my own bank account, my teen account. And I just remember calling him and be like, dude, I overdrafted by $5 today. Can you help? Could you reverse that? And it's just like, I called him so many times and he's like, I remember we were talking about that. But again, he was a positive influence in my life. So I don't think necessarily it was books or anything like that. I think it was more the people like him that came into my life at a young age that helped really kind of, put a little bit of a foundation there for me.
That makes sense. And I was reading yesterday, and the book that I was reading, because I do read, I actually read. I'm not just an audiobook guy. No, but the book was talking about how a lot of people like visualize themselves within like tomorrow or like the week or the weekend or whatever, right? But what's really important is visualizing yourself 5 years from now, but then also 10 years from now, and kind of seeing where you want to be at, and then working kind of
towards that goal.
Towards that, And so that's interesting that you mentioned that. What's your vision for the next 5 years?
In the next 5 years, I'm hoping that we are able to be in other states as well. Almost, I don't know about franchising. We've had opportunities to franchise.
What's the scary thought about that? Why not?
I just wanted to be able to, again, I feel like I could do it now. We could definitely do it now. But I just feel like with what I'm doing here, I still have a lot. I'm still learning a lot of, like, for me, I've really liked the construction cleaning side of things.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I just was like, hey, this is, I think probably because I'm able to see something happen quick, right? With janitorial cleaning, like, it's every month. So it's like, yes, we're completing a goal every single day, but it's like the challenge of, like, when I did the Mountain America Event Center, when we did the construction cleanup on that monster, it was such a rush, dude. It was such a rush. Expectations were huge, but I really liked the fact that it was like I got to watch something, like, we accomplished something huge in a matter of a month. And I think that's the same with, like, construction cleaning right now.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that in the next 5 years, I'm able to be in different states. Like, I think one of my biggest goals would be to be in Vegas. Yeah. Because I mean, big market, but big buildings. And I just look at it as like, dude, that thing would just kill me. Because at Mountain America Event Center, man, that really put me through a mental battle. I was exhausted. It was physical. Again, they had a deadline to be like, this has to be the date we open. Yeah. And just the things that we had to go through in order, like, for me and my crew, the things that we accomplished, like, it was one of those times that I wish we had somebody there videoing the things that we were experiencing, dude, because it literally was a mental battle every single day. And I just feel like, I think I'm addicted to that rush where it's just like, I'm in that, oh shit, what's going on? Yeah. And then all of a sudden I'm like, okay, it was seriously like every single day I was either like, I got this, or, I'm getting my ass beat today, So, but I think that's hoping in 5 years that I'm able to be at least in different states working on some monster buildings, just so that I can feel that rush again,
Yeah. I mean, you gotta start in Utah. That'd be the spot. And
then Utah. I think Utah has a I don't know why Vegas. Only because I think when I was there last time, they were building that sphere.
Oh yeah.
And have you seen, like, the images of the sphere?
Dude, that shit looks insane.
Dude, it looks crazy. So I want to go see that again. But I just remember when we drove by it, it was kind of like that moment you see in the movies where it's just like I'm in the Uber and I'm looking to the right and it's just like it's there being built, and I'm just like, oh, in my head I'm just like, where would I even, like, just already like, all my mind is always like, what would I have to do in order to get this complete? And I'm like, it's like I got goosebumps. It's like, dude, I don't know. And so I think for me, that's what let me know, at least now, I think, being 33, if I'm passionate about what I'm doing. And I think that's, and you know what, going back a little bit on what you're saying about reading books, it's so funny to me that like, like I said, I don't read a ton,
Yeah.
but it's like people talk to me about like, oh dude, I read this book. And I can relate to that on very different levels. It's like, man, it's how, like, I don't know, life just is literally the best teacher of anything, because it's like you experience so many things, and it's cool that somebody talks to you about a book and you're like, I can kind of relate to that. So no, man, that's why I said hopefully in 5 years we're doing something crazy like that.
Yeah, it's crazy how you when you're like when you're an employee, you can get to that point of thinking, okay, how would I do this if I own something? But when you're a business owner, you actually think about how you're going to do something. You're like, because I remember I would, in like Utah or whatever, or, I would go to Washington and I would see buildings and I'm like, I was like, man, how would I paint that? If I was, because I like painting, it's all right, but it's not like my passion, That's why I haven't started a painting company, because I'm like, why do something that I don't like,
Exactly.
Yeah, I'd rather do something that I do like, even though it's not paying me what a painting company would pay me.
They took your name anyway, so.
And they took my name, yeah.
Fuckers.
Fucking assholes. Dude, and the worst thing, it was like a gray van, and it was like, God, dude, and I knew it was Mexicans.
They fucked it up. They fucked up the vision.
Yeah, I was like, God damn it, you're supposed to be driving a GNC, bro. Nice and lifted and everything, but whatever. Hopefully they're doing well.
It's like one day I'm going to see you out there just yelling at these people. I was like, oh, we finally get like, hey, this is what it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
No, dude.
Yeah, you start questioning, okay, how would you paint this, or how would you do this? And I don't know, I think that's one of the cool things about also like the brain, is that you put your brain to work. Because, dude, working as an employee, you can only put your brain to work so much, Like we work with a guy who is like, yeah, I think about what I'm going to be doing the next day, the night before, and how we're going to get in there and do that. And I'm like, that's cool. Like, I'm glad you've been able to get to that point.
Yeah.
I tell it to myself, I'm glad you get it to that point, right, where you can visualize what you're going to do the next day. But imagine if you were to be handling, I don't know, 5 different job sites. How would you do that then? That takes a different type of brain skill, to do. And I don't think people know that until they own something.
Until they own it. That's so true.
Because like, and even goes with podcasting, right? I can only plan so far ahead where I'm like, okay, now what am I going to do with the next, I don't know, 10 guests or whatever, or where am I going to put them, where the timing and everything. So until you own something, you don't get to that brain skill,
right?
Which is crazy, and that's what's beautiful about life.
And if you think about it too, it's like trying to, in your mind, right? And I feel like there are some people that like they'll have their notes, like, hey, make sure I don't forget to talk about these topics. Yeah. But I think just the mental preparation that you have to take to be in your position, I don't feel like. That's not easy, man. That's not easy, because it's like you're telling yourself, okay, make sure that I ask these questions, or make sure that I don't come off this way. And it's like trying to just find that balance in yourself. No, I can, like I said, I think because I own something, and I have to really, like you're saying, I have to really go in depth for a lot of things and think outside of the box. Yeah. That I'm easy. I can relate to you where you're like, dude, that's not easy. It's not easy to sit down and talk and converse. Even though, we've conversated before at the gym, but that's different, right?
Yeah, you're in a rush, dude. You're sweating. You're like, man, I don't want to get too close. I'm going to stink,
Yeah, like, I'm like, dude, like, it is. It's like, so here it's like different, because it's like you really, it's like, hey, now you just like the atmosphere, like you're trying to set an atmosphere for your, like, just for obviously for your guests, but more for like, it really is I respect you for that, dude, because that, just making me think about it in that moment. It's like, that's not easy, man. So killing it.
Thanks, I appreciate that, bro. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think that to me, business owners intrigue me a lot, and not just business owners, but someone that does something that truly does something because they want to get ahead in life in their own way. Whatever that is, right? I talk a lot about fitness, even going to the gym 5-6 days out of the week. You're pushing yourself to a level where you weren't before, right? And so that to me is intriguing, because I like to pick the brain and see, okay, why you know, because you know this as much as I do probably, that if you don't have a strong why on why you're doing something or whatever that is that you're doing, dude, COVID-19 happens again, you're done.
Yeah.
You're out of here, you know? So what's your why?
My why is I just know my kids are watching me, man. My kids are watching me, and so I want to be, you know, my legacy for them. I want it to be like, hey, my dad was a grinder. My dad was fit. You know, I trained jujitsu as well. So it's
Do
like,
you really?
Yeah.
That's awesome, dude.
So for me, it's
Look
like,
at this guy. God damn. First of all, okay, I'm gonna let you finish, and then I have a lot of questions about
let's do it,
certain
dude.
lifestyles.
No, man. Like I said, for me, it's just like I'm making my kids see a different life than what I saw. Not that I have anything against the life that I grew up with. You know, I have a lot of respect for my parents, and they did what they had to do, you know, in order for us to survive. But I've got such a great opportunity here that I'm like, okay, I need to make sure that I switch that mental game from all of my kids and make them see like, hey, life can be super sick. Like, life is dope. I'm 33. You know, I'm in charge of, you know, I build my own steps for the life that I want to have. And I know my kids watch my steps a lot.
Yeah.
Whether it's something that I fucked up on, like, hey, maybe I think about like being a dad for me is probably the most important role that I have, man, above anything. And so when I do something wrong, it really eats at me with my kids. I'm like, damn, man, and so I make sure that whether it's apologizing or whether I talk to my kids about it, like, hey, look, I should have approached it this way, or I should have said it this way. So that way I have that communication factor with my kids.
Interesting.
You know, but my why is definitely like, hey, for me, like, in order for me to be this person, this, you know, ideal, this like the hero for my kids, I have to put myself in positions of like, okay, well, what does a hero look like? I think it doesn't need to be, you know, I don't need to be this super fit guy, but health is, you know, health is essential, man. It makes me, you know, being fit makes you a happier person because you're more confident in yourself.
And let's be honest, the mental clarity that comes with working out and fitness, dude. I went on a walk this morning, and usually when I go on the walks, I right away put a podcast on or something like that, right? And this morning I was like, no, I'm gonna walk in just silence, you know, just listen and just see where I'm at mentally. And there was a few things I was like, I want to, you know, work better on this and that. But I was like, how many people don't do this when they have the ability to? And what's awesome to me is that I saw a few people out there walking. I'm like, hell yeah, that's awesome. Like, I'm glad you're out here walking, you know? And I saw this lady, and she's on the bigger side, and she's walking. I'm like, I know the pain you must feel, like in your knees or ankles or whatever, but you're out here walking. How bad is, like, that's badass, you know?
Yeah, dude.
And then there's younger people who don't do shit. And it's like, bro, just the mental clarity. Don't you, I strive for mental clarity, you know? Because I'm like, I need to be clear in my head. And the only way I can get that is through working out, doing something active. And so that's interesting that you mentioned the health. But yeah, as far as kids seeing your steps, you don't really realize how many people are paying attention to you. Like, I didn't realize how many, like, my brother, for example, I didn't realize how much he looks up to me until I realized it. Until one day I was like, this dude is doing exactly the same things I was doing. He's just doing it better, you know? And I was like, motherfucker, like, you're not, and at first I got pissed. I was like, you're not supposed to, like, I don't want you doing the exact same things I'm doing.
Yeah.
But not that he was, but he was following those steps. I'm like, okay, now I have a role because, you know, my family went through some shit. So I was like, now I have the role to be a good human,
Good
I guess.
example.
A good example, yeah.
Good example for them.
And I can't wait to experience that with my little kid now. Because I know those little ones are sponges, dude.
Oh, dude, I'm telling you, man, like everything. And that's why it's like, I think that's why it's so important to know, to try to learn yourself, like, truly in depth. Like you said, have that mental clarity. I think for me, that's really important. I'm a person that picks, you know, I pick my own brain a lot. Like, I always, like, because just like anybody else, man, I'm human. So I experience, and I think I experience all these different emotions, right? Whether it's like, sometimes I'm super, super, I mean, a lot of times I'm really happy, but sometimes I'm like,
down.
I'm down. And so to me, it's a mental roller coaster. Yeah. And so for me, I don't try to really hide that from my kids. And it's like, I'd really try to talk about, just talk about like, hey, I might be experiencing this, or I might be experiencing that. So that way it's just like,
this is just the truth, you know?
Yeah,
and
man,
I think
being
it helps. And even with the partner, I think how important is, you've been together for 12 years with your wife. Mm-hmm. Shout out to her, dude, by the way. I think
Shout out Kara. Yeah,
I think she's amazing. I don't know her right, but by knowing that she has supported you the way she supports you in whatever capacity that is, that's awesome, dude.
I think that's everything, dude. You know, Kara has she has been my pillar. You know, she's been a pillar to my success. And dude, she's just, she's believed in me so much, man. It's like, awesome. I could tell her, hey, I'm gonna go to the moon, and she'd be like, hey, I'll see you when you get back. Like, dude, she truly
How important is that, right? To have a spouse like that, dude. How much shit have you put her through? Have I put my spouse? Dude, we put them through some shit.
Fucking talk about a mental fucking roller coaster, man. I've put her through the ringer, dude. And you know what? She, if anything, she's just made it so that we've, our bond, our relationship has, strengthened a lot. And, it's just one of those people that, I'm really thankful that she has been able to, she's an amazing person, man. Amazing mom. Like, she takes such good care of the kids and us. And, I think it's just, I think that having that right partner, having the right partner can make such a difference. Because if you got somebody that's like, I don't know if you should do that. And it's like, fuck, it's already hard enough to believe in myself and to try these things. And when I've got my own person that's supposed to be like, yeah, go for it. Where if you're like, you're just like, fuck, dude. But no, man, she's always like, swing for the fences. You just never know. And so, and I think that comes over time, man. Because at first it's like, you have to, it's like you want to be realistic with things.
You have to nourish the relationship
but you have to prove again. And I feel like that's the why kicks in. Like, you asked about the why. It's like, okay, let me show you truly what I'm about. And then I'm like, hey, I'm not here to fuck around. And you start accomplishing things. And, it's like the more you're willing to push and sacrifice and get there, then I think your wife, your spouse or whomever will be like, oh, this motherfucker is really about it. So it's like when he says this, then it really just,
your word counts, right?
Yeah.
Because I was like, like me and her have had instances, right, where we may not be on the same page about certain things, or where maybe she's felt like, if she can speak to this, where she's felt like, dude, like you're not really here sometimes, and that's it, to me, to hear that, I'm like, fuck, like it sucks, I'm like, god damn it, like, where am I fucking up, I go straight to that, well, what am I doing wrong? And then, it could be something as simple as like, hey, dude, like, I just want like some time with you, an hour, at least. And so I'm like, okay. And then I have to ask myself, right? Because this goes back to what I'm going to ask you in a bit, but it goes back to the mental clarity. Mm-hmm. If I get too holed up on like anger or like frustration on why she brings this up to me, then I won't ever figure out what's going on, right? Yeah. What am I doing wrong, essentially? So then I'm like, okay, this makes sense. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. Yeah, I haven't spent much time with her. I have to dedicate a certain amount of time per week, per day to her and her only. And whatever that is, 45 minutes, an hour, make sure that she knows that time is hers and hers only, right? But then I tell her too, I'm like, hey, I'm not like the lazy guy. Like, I'm a guy who's very, I don't know, I have just this tick in me to go and go and go.
Just motivated.
And I don't stop, and I don't know, I'm not the guy who's going to be like, get home from work, get on the couch, watch TV, eat. I'm not that person. I'm the person that gets home, goes to the gym after, comes back, reads.
Just proactive.
I'm proactive. Always up and down, dude. And I'm like, I don't know what to do about that. Like, I really don't, right? It's because it's the double-edged sword, dude. Like, it's very cool, but at the same time, I'm like, damn, dude, like, I should.
Why can't I just slow down?
Yeah, why can't I just like relax for a little bit? Because when I'm relaxing, dude, I always think, I should be doing this. I should be doing that. Yeah. Right? I have to bring myself back. But yeah.
I think that it goes back to, I think you remember the time, like the position you're at and this is cool again. Like this is life, man. It transpires. You asked about 5 years from now. Yourself 5 years ago wasn't in the position you are now. You didn't have the, you didn't have this mental, you didn't have these thoughts. But now that you do and you're there, it's like a part of you is like, don't ever let yourself get back to that, because it's like it's regressive. You're taking a step back. So that's why somebody told me this. They're like, you don't, your mind doesn't allow you to kind of step back into that position. Like you're always fearful weird of like, hey, if I slow down for a minute, I'm failing. Like,
yeah, and I think the reason why that is, dude, for me at least, is because when I was 14, yes, when I was 14, I got into the MLM, right? And so from then on, my life was very much of like, go, right? I was working, I was building this MLM, and I was working, going to school. So like that's been my life, and then working out. And then at 20, I got married, slowed down, and then there was a period where I got like very fat. Now, like not fat, like exaggerated, but fat to me. And I was like, damn, I feel like shit. So then I got into like shape, and then I bounced back and got fat again. And I'm like, fuck, god damn it, I feel like shit again. So then I'm like, okay, now, and I would look at myself in the videos. I'm like, damn, I look bad. Like I don't look good, And then I had a friend call me. He's like, dude, you look like shit. I'm like, I know, dude. All right, I get it. So then I started this like program, and then now I'm here. But the mindset has always been like, to me now it's like, how can I not go back to that, but then also build new habits or new systems in place that don't allow me to go back from that, but allow me to do some of the things that I was doing back then,
Yeah.
Like back then I could spend time with her whenever I wanted, really, because I wasn't going to the gym. I was eating whatever I want. So now it's like, how can I do that without...
It's discipline, man.
Yeah.
Being very, very disciplined, because it's, same thing, man. Same thing. And dude, huge difference. So like I said, it's crazy again. You don't see somebody for a while and you're just like, damn, this dude's changed it up. And that's good, man. Cause I just let somebody know, like, they're committed.
Yes.
They're committed.
Yeah. How important is it to have your emotions, your mindset, and then your physical health connected?
Oh, dude.
Do you think?
I think it's everything, man. And I don't think it's like, it doesn't even need to be to the point where it's just like, my goal is to look like a fit motherfucker. I think just getting into the gym and moving, because it's like, again, depending on what your emotion is, like if you're sad, fuck it. Like I keep saying this thing on Instagram. Yeah. Like what do I do on the days that I'm sad? You still do it. You do it sad. You do it mad.
What I do when I feel sick, go do it.
You go do it, man. And it's like, I really feel like it just kind of helps. Like I said, I think being in the gym is one of the biggest de-stressors of like, you're challenging yourself, because there's nobody else, right? It's like you get in there and it's like you can go to the gym and you don't have to do anything because there's nobody. I mean, maybe people are watching like, damn, this dude hasn't moved forever, but it's such a mental battle. You get in there, and if you choose to,
bro, I need to use the restroom.
Go for it.
It's always, dude. I'm so sorry.
I thought that was gonna be me. I thought that was gonna be me with this. Dude, he's got a cool story.
I had to be so freaking bad. Holy Jesus, mother of God, dude. You don't realize how bad. I mean, you don't realize how good you feel until you take a good piss, and you're like, my body feels hydrated.
100%, dude.
Right?
That's for real.
It's way better than if you don't drink water and then you take a piss and it's like, fuck.
Well, then you just look at your piss and you're just like, that's like, for me, it's like.
Have you ever smelled your piss? Like.
Yeah, and you smell your piss and you're just like, damn, dude, I need to drink some water, dude. So I think, I think that's being in check too. It's like, I can just imagine, dude. There's dudes that drink, nothing against it. I mean, you shouldn't, but dudes that drink just an enormous amount of pop and unhealthy, and it's just like, and I'm like, I can just imagine, like, for me, it's like, when you do take a piss and it stinks and you're already like, you're like already wheezing and you're just like, dude, how does that not like sometimes for me, it's like, fuck, I know I should, like, and so you do. So it's like, at least you're taking action, but some people just don't give a shit, dude, and that sucks.
It's crazy. Are we rolling, by the way? Are we rolling? We're good? Oh, okay. Well, yeah. I make sure. But fuck, dude. My question with that is like, maybe I think about it to the extreme, but this is just my thought process, I guess. I'm like, I feel bad for their lady. You know, like that jizz must not be fucking healthy at all.
Dude.
Must be yellow or some shit like that. Nasty.
Something, dude. I'm like, damn.
It's like those guys that drink Red Bull at 7 a.m. I'm like, what are you doing, bro?
That's me.
The other day, she told me the story of a guy who was drinking a Monster at, what, 5 a.m.?
I think it was about to be 5 a.m.
I was like, but then the day before, he was, drinking and shit, which, whatever, but I'm like, damn, don't do that to your body, bro. Drinking, dehydrated to begin with, and your first thing to do the next morning is drink a Monster?
Just to get stuck in these systems, man. And you know what? I don't know why, but I watch people so much. And it's like, I go to the gas station and it's like, and I thought I'm being judgy. Maybe I am. I don't know. Getting their fucking huge ass cup full. Like early in the morning, I'm like, damn, do you really need that right now? Like getting a Dr. Pepper in the morning, I'm like, that's fucking gross, dude.
But it's an addiction. It's like one of those addictions. Because I've had this problem with this coffee now for a week. I've been drinking, I make my own coffee, which is great. I love it. And I just sit there and watch that shit. I'm like, oh, yeah.
Dude, the other day he woke up late. He woke up late for work. And the first thing he did was come to the kitchen and start making coffee instead of getting ready.
You're like, gotta put that. No. That's the start of this. Like, I'm already late. I might as well make it, somewhat an enjoyable morning. So it's not.
Dude, I literally got out of bed in my PJs, dude. My hair was all fucked. I didn't even brush my teeth or nothing. I literally went straight to the kitchen, put the coffee in, and then I was like, once I saw the coffee getting, done, I was like, now I can go get ready.
Yeah, dude.
But I didn't have that problem a week ago. It's because I've been drinking coffee every day now. And I'm like, damn.
Dude, it's funny. I don't know, coffee, like I'll drink it sometimes. I don't really drink coffee that often. But I don't know, just growing up as a kid, my grandma used to watch us. And it was always, she would make us some coffee and we would watch Murray. We would watch all these like court shows and these novelas and shit. And
the video with Caso Cerrado?
Caso Cerrado. I was like, dude, yeah. I was like, let's go. Like,
That should make me want to be a lawyer when I was younger, dude.
For real though, I was like, damn. So it was funny because we grew up drinking a lot of coffee. And I'm talking like 5-6 years old.
Holy
drinking
shit.
a shit ton of coffee, dude. I'm like, what the hell? And then I just, my parents still drink a lot of coffee, and then I just didn't, but every now and then my wife likes to get a Starbucks, and I'm just like, oh, fucking give me a coffee. So she's got me on this little coffee kick right now. So.
No, I didn't really used to drink coffee until I got on this program, and I was like, because I was drinking a lot of energy drinks. I still do, but I was like, I don't know, like I want to become a man, So I was like, what are these men out here doing? And they're drinking Black Rifle, so I was like, I'm gonna get some fucking Black Rifle myself. So I got some, dude, and I've been on it ever since, and I love it. I can't go without it now.
What program are you on, by the way?
I didn't want to say, but
we don't have to.
Let's just say, I'll just tell you, I won't tell you the name of the program, because I'm like, for me, it's like more like, I'm doing it before I speak on it type of deal.
Oh, there you go.
You
want to have a real life, like, hey, this was my experience.
Yeah, and then once I'm done with it, then I'll speak on the name and what it is, right? But, if you look it up, then I'm sure you'll fucking find it out. But basically what I'm doing, dude, is, so I'm on a diet, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm doing 2 workouts a day for 45 minutes each. 1 in the morning and then 1 in the afternoon. So one has to be outside and one can be inside or outside, doesn't matter. So like in the mornings, I used to go running, but I fucked up my knee, so I haven't been running for the past week and a half now. So I walk 45 minutes, which for me that's about 2.5 miles. Mm-hmm. So it's a nice little walk, and then in the afternoon, right after work, or like for example, right after this, I'm going to the gym, and I'll do like yesterday I did cardio, today I do legs, tomorrow I do back. So I hit that.
Dude.
Diet.
Well, it's paying off, I'll tell you that. It's paying off, man.
Dude, I've lost 8 fucking pounds in the past week. 2 weeks, right? Yeah. 2
Holy
weeks.
Cow.
Yeah. I'm expected to get down to 148.
148?
Yeah. And I'm 162 right now.
Dang, dude.
Yeah.
Good for you, bro.
So I got 20 more pounds to go or some shit like that.
You got this. Shit.
Yeah, no, it's good. Your body feels much better. And this back to our conversation about health and fitness and kind of the emotion. You know, it's interesting because I was like, before I was doing this, I have always tried to have my emotions in place, my mentality in place, and then my fitness would come last, right? But always one of those was always missing. Sometimes my mental was good, my physical health was all right, but my emotions were like down the drain, dude.
Yeah.
And sometimes it was all over the place. So, but it's interesting to me because I'm like, it's crazy how if I'm working out, you know, it doesn't have to be twice, but once a day at least, and I'm following a diet that's not super strict, you know, but it's strict enough where
It's a
not
guideline.
eating, yeah, you're not eating fucking pizza every 2 days. So, following a diet, that in itself will help you feel better mentally, which then will give you the mental clarity to figure out your emotions, which then gives you the strength to get back up the next day and do the physical again. That's interesting.
That is interesting.
Right?
But it makes so much sense because it makes so much sense. I feel like you think about those that don't, that just haven't started, haven't moved, like they just don't move. They're just used to this. They kind of accept it, right? Hey, this is my life. Like, I'm not a healthy person.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that have bothered me about people like telling us like and I know they don't mean it in a bad way. I know they mean it like in a joking way. But to me, it's bothering in a sense because I'm like, bro, I'm not gonna have that mindset of just quitting on my health, you know. But they're like, I don't know if you got this when you were about to have your baby, but the like, dude, just give in. Like, it's all good to have a dad bod. Like, it's all good to, you know, be lazy. Like, you're not gonna sleep at night, so why?
What's the point? Yeah. Dude, I have. You know, and I think one of the biggest things is I never, like, I always heard having kids is so hard and you're not going to be able to do anything. You can't afford to do anything. And it's like, I never bought into that, dude. And you can't, like, you're not going to be able to do this. And it's just like, no, you weren't able to do that.
Yeah.
You know, it's like,
I can,
you know. And it's not now because, this was way before the success of Imperial. It was always just like, I would always hear that. And it's like, no, like it doesn't need to be this way. It never stop. Like you just need to learn how to adapt and then you change what you need to change and you just make it happen. You know?
And you know what's crazy? It's that I don't like to make decisions under hysteria, right? I don't like to think about what I'm going to do under hysteria. So when people say that stuff to me, I'm like, you ever just thought about you maybe not being the one who can't? Like, I'm doing great. Like, fuck, dude, I feel better than I have in the past, I don't know, 6 months or whatever. Like, I feel good. And I posted a clip yesterday on the podcast where I'm like, you know what? Matter of fact, I'm excited for my baby to be crying at 3 a.m. because I'm going to get up and I'm going to fucking read or some shit. I'll do something. I don't know. Maybe I'll edit. That's just the way you think about it, though.
Yeah, that's so true, man. That's dope. Instead
of like, oh, yeah, dude, I'm not going to sleep. I'm like, the baby's going to grow up. It's not going to be a little one for ever,
goes fast.
You know?
It goes fast.
So, but, yeah, I was just thinking about that. It's crazy. So, how much have you said that you do jiu-jitsu? How much of that has impacted your life and certain pathways? And I'll tell you something before you give me your opinion. With jiu-jitsu or any type of sport, but more specifically about jiu-jitsu, I know for a fact, because I did jiu-jitsu for a amount of time, that it opens pathways in your brain that you didn't have before that. So how much of that have you seen, if any?
It's changed my life 100%, man. It's changed my life in the sense of, I think that's what gives me the most mental clarity. Like, the working out aspect is what keeps me healthy, but jiu-jitsu is what helps keep me sane. Like, the fact that you are in, like, it's only you. You're having to, you know, figure yourself out, because jiu-jitsu is like just a human chess game.
Yeah.
Right? It's about give and take. But it's also, like, I think one of the biggest things, and I realized this a year and a half ago, was like, I'm in the process of somebody's already, you know, choking me out. I remember when I first started, you know, it's just, you're just not used to being put in those situations. And it's like, it's almost frightful. Like, holy cow, like what's going on right here? Like, you know, cause what do I do?
Yeah.
You know, you feel like you're, you know, if you feel like someone's trying to kill you in those first beginning stages, you know, and then you fast forward like, hey, okay, I'm comfortable in this position. Like somebody has me in a really bad spot. And it's crazy. Even though I know I'm being, you know, I'm in danger or I'm being choked out, I have enough mental, like I'm stably calm in my head where it's like, okay, and this is happening in seconds where it's like, okay, it's starting to go. He's starting to squeeze. I'm, you know, starting not to breathe as much, but I'm still calm and collected.
Yeah.
And I'm like, the fact that, like I said, in that moment, I'm thinking like it's happening in seconds. Like I'm thinking of what do I need to do? Like what should my body movement be in order to get out of this position? So I think just being able to be comfortable in that position and have those mind, like those seconds of thinking, I can get out of this versus like, oh fuck, I'm about to go out. So I think it really does help you become such a peaceful person. Like, you know, like,
and how that translates into business, dude, I can't imagine.
Yeah, because it's just discipline, man. It's discipline of going, you know. I didn't go for quite a bit, so I think I've been going 4 years.
Where do you go?
I go to Soma Jiu-Jitsu.
Where is that? Is that
so it's
the
over
one
by
here
the
in
post
town?
office, over by IF High School, like off 3rd Street.
Oh, okay.
So,
I think I checked out their website. I've been wanting to go and check it out.
Dude, Soma Jiu-Jitsu, man. Like I said, check them out, dude. Jared and James Emfield, like they are some badass coaches, dude. Like they're just really about their, like, you know, like longevity, you know, longevity of things of, hey, people are coming here to train and they want to continue training forever. So if, you know, they're not about somebody coming in there and, you know, like, hey, I'm here to kick everybody's ass. It's like, yes, they want you to challenge yourself, but they don't want you getting hurt so that you can continue training. You know, so the atmosphere that they've built at Soma, man, has just been like sick.
That's awesome. Yeah, because I did jujitsu from 12 to 15. No, from 11 to 15. It's about 4 years. But it was one of the more, it helped me a lot in my younger life, I think, because not only was I doing jiu-jitsu, but I was doing MMA too, and then boxing. So just getting in there, dude, and like sparring with the fucking 30-year-old, you know. And then I remember the one time I was sparring with this guy. He's like, he's now probably 30, but at the time he was probably 27 or something like that. And I hit him with like a straight right here on the chin, literally just cracked him on the chin, and he knocked down, you know. And I was like, holy shit. Like, I just knocked down a grown-ass man. Like, what the fuck? And then next thing you know, I get choked out by him. You know, I'm like, okay, well,
shit.
Yeah, well, shit. Like, this guy, like, yeah, you can be strong and whatever, have power, but there's always going to be someone that's going to be able to be better than you.
There's always a bigger dog.
Yeah, and with jiu-jitsu, what I would do is I got so comfortable with being in bad spots that I was like, I would close my eyes and then just let my body just flow. And just fairways out and, you know, just let the brain do its work. And I've never felt more calm in my internal self than in that time. Because whatever was happening at home was happening at school, whatever. But when I got there, dude, I was so fucking calm. Even though I was getting choked out or some shit, I was like, damn, dude, I felt great. Like,
it's hard to compare, dude. And, you know, there's a guy, Scott, he does the same thing. You know, you roll with him and he's a purple belt and close his eyes. And it's just crazy, dude, because it's like once you train, it's like you already know, like, oh, my hand shouldn't be there. Like you recognize body position. So it doesn't matter. Like you just really feel like, you know, like what movements need to happen if you need a shrimp or if you need a, you know, bridge or however. It's like, it's crazy that, you know, it's just muscle memory, dude.
Yes.
Muscle memory. And
you lose so much weight too.
Dude.
You sweat, dude. I rolled with guys, dude, who sweat like a motherfucker. I'm like, and it's all slippery and shit, but that's just part of the game, dude.
Yeah, man. It's just, you know, it really is. That's my cardio. That's what I said. When I don't go, I'm like, oh shit, I better get on the treadmill or something. But I never do. But that's what I consider being my cardio. So I try to at least go at least 2 or 3 times a week.
Yeah,
when I can. Awesome. But again, life,
Yeah.
I coach help coach my kids sporting stuff. And so I always, something cool Mike, Jared told me, our head coach was like, I'm like, cause baseball season was going on for one of my sons. And I was like, dude, I've missed a lot. I'm like,
Yeah.
you got to coach. We got, practice is usually during, practice for jiu-jitsu. And it's like, he's like, your kids are only going to be small for so long.
Yep.
And this is going to be here forever. So it's okay if you're gone forever. So I'm like,
That's awesome.
And it helps. But at the same time too, it's like, my mental, and even it's so funny. My wife knows when I need to go. She's like, you need to go train. You need to go to jiu-jitsu. It's like, and she's absolutely right, dude, because that's what helps keep, keeps that balance. So what got me into it? Joe Rogan.
Really?
I was listening to a podcast of Joe Rogan, and he just went on about how jiu-jitsu is just life-changing, and it helps, and it just helps you, just helps your mental. And I'm like, you know what? I want to try that. So one day I took me and both my kids and didn't tell them what we were doing. I just was like, we're going here. Showed up. They looked at me like, what the heck? And,
But how did your kids feel?
At first, they were like, what the hell? What is this? And then they did it. I think they trained. How long did they don't train anymore. It became too much of a battle, for them, where it's just like, I know how much it was going to benefit them, but you're so young, like they're kids, so I'm like, I don't want them to hate it. I was like, but at least, somebody cool at the gym the other day were like, was like, but you introduced it to them. It's like they'll have that memory of like, I used to train, maybe I want to train again. So I'm like, oh, that's cool. Like planted that seed. So.
Yeah. I think I promote jiu-jitsu a ton. I tell everyone and everyone, especially females, I think it's a great sport for females. Like, and I don't think people really know what we're talking about until they actually get in there and actually do it, And even though I haven't trained for a long time, I still remember certain things, and I still know how it feels to get choked out. And dude, when you get choked out and you pass out, like, how that feels. And you're like, holy shit, like that just happened to me. Yeah. And I remember, things from when I was younger, and I promote it so much. I'm like, dude, if you're a female, take your daughter, go yourself. It's the one sport that will help you, in self-defense, but also your mental clarity aspect.
And it's so true, because I feel like you're building both. Like you're building that self, like you are learning how to defend yourself, and it's like whether you end up using it or not at some point in your life. Like, it's like when you got a brand new person coming in and you roll with this person. Yep. You just don't realize how capable you are of like doing something when you just don't have an idea of what's going on. You're like, think it's just crazy, dude. It's crazy. It's like, man, I'm still that person. Like you roll with a black belt. Yep. And it's like, you just feel like you're a brand new person. Like no matter like, I just like, when you're about to start sparring, it's like, you always just kind of do a little fist bump, And so it's like,
I think I choked out 10 seconds.
Yeah. Like 2 seconds later, I'm like, dude, I just fist bumped you. How am I already like in this position? Like, and it's funny, dude, but I love it so much, man. Like I said, I think that's, I'm just glad that I found the sport and that I found the team that I found. And it's just like, it's just nothing but good energy. Like I said, it's Saturday. We rolling, like the class starts at 12. So now one of my goals is getting you in there, dude. Let's get you.
Get me in there, dude.
Let's get you back, dude. Bro. We might even have to do a little sparring session after this.
Dude, I'll spar with you. And dude, I have that fucking dog in me. It's not out yet. It's not out right now. I have it in the cage, but I know that for a fact, because I was very disciplined when I was younger, in the sense of like I would train all the time. Mm-hmm. I would go from wrestling. I also did wrestling, by the way. Mm. So I would do. This was my schedule when I was younger. I would wrestle right after school. I would go to school, wrestle right after school. I would get out at 5:30 maybe. Go home, chill, and then at 6:30 or 7, I would go train MMA, and then didn't get back home till 9.
Dang.
And then 8, slept. Next thing.
That's sick.
Same
man.
day. So I know for a fact, like I haven't trained in a while, but you put
muscle memory, man.
You put someone up against me, dude. I'll box that dude. I'll do fairly well. I'm pretty sure. You fucking want to wrestle, dude? I got a good takedown. I got a good blast double. It's single leg. I mean, I know I can do these things. Mm-hmm. I just haven't gone in and actually done them yet.
Yeah, dude, and you never. I feel like it's like riding a bike, dude. Once you
never lose it, dude.
Once you said during COVID, the gym shut down for a while. And then I just didn't go. So, like I said, I've been going almost 4 years. And I think a good almost 2 years of that I wasn't there, partially because COVID was closed for a long time. And then I just got into that. I was like, I haven't trained in a while. But I'm glad I came back to me. But when I came back, I was like, fuck, dude. Like,
Yeah,
you know, it's like you just
lose,
remember you're like, damn, I'm gonna suck, and I don't even know if I'm gonna remember anything. And then all of a sudden you're just like, your body's doing what it like. Damn, my body didn't forget. It's like, oh shit, like yeah, I still got caught, but I'm like, a lot of things that I was fearful of forgetting, I was like, no, dude, it always sticks with you. So
Yeah.
no, that's cool that you know, it's like even though if you haven't done it in a while, dude, it's something that you will never, like your body will never forget
I'll
that
never
movement,
forget it,
you
dude.
know. So.
I'll get in there with you, bro. I'll roll with you.
Well, and
I'm
I
down.
see that your brother boxes too, though.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
like I
he
see that
boxes.
he's done, dude.
Yeah.
You know, he's done really, really well. Like,
Yeah, he's done amazing at it. He's really good at it, and I think he's stepping into that point in his journey of like, okay, it's not just fun anymore. Now it's like I have to be disciplined with it because I want to.
He sees a career.
Yeah, I want to accomplish this goal. I want to be able to do nationals or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just I'm gonna box and cut weight in a week. No, now I'm gonna maintain my weight.
He's taking it seriously.
Yeah.
So.
With your business, bro, what's one of the things that like you've done that has grown it exponentially? Like just
The culture.
the culture.
The culture, man. I feel like for me, you got to think about it this way, right? We clean a shit ton of buildings all throughout East Idaho. So I had to put this trust in all these people to do what they need to do. So for me, it's like I have to build a good culture in the company for them to feel valued and appreciated.
Yes.
And so you have to empower people. Like for me, when I assign buildings, I'm like, okay, these are the expectations. You got it.
Yeah.
You got it. I follow up with my clients on a monthly basis, and that's about it. So it's kind of like their own business. Like you run it. Like, hey, this is a general idea of what you need to do. These are our expectations. But for the most part, I don't really bug them to be like, hey, this and this and this and that. It's like we'll go through, we'll inspect. But overall, it's just like feeling that culture of like everybody's happy, if they're happy, it's only going to produce quality work.
Right.
Versus, hey, these guys are unhappy.
Yeah.
And now I'm going to get a phone call tomorrow. Hey, our building looks like shit.
Yeah.
And, and again, that was part of figuring out the things that weren't working and the things that weren't working. And sometimes, people will be people and like they just don't have good work ethic.
Yeah.
But the team that I have, man, I'm so thankful because it's like everybody cares, because I think obviously it transpires to money.
Yeah.
For me, it's like the more I get, the more I give, the more I get. So to me, it's like money. There's this building that I clean. It's called Edward Jones. The finance.
Yes.
So in one of the offices, I don't remember the whole thing, but I just remember the first line where it's talking about money, where he says, "Money has never been my God."
Oh.
And every time I cleaned that office, and we've cleaned that office for 7 years now. So when I first started cleaning it, I would always step into his office, and I'd always wipe that frame down just so that I could read that quote over and over. And till this day, man, it's like I understand money is important, but it's never like for me, just because I come from humble, just my parents have been super humble. For me, I've tried to be just a good person where it's like, yeah, I understand we need money to survive and stuff like that. I was like, but the if I can truly build a team where retention rates, like just retaining people as long as I possibly can, that's what's just going to help build that strong foundation. And it's going to help me go home and not be so stressed and not worry about the things I don't need to worry about. So yeah, I feel like, again, just building a strong culture within the company so that people feel empowered and happy has truly helped like just change the game 100%.
Yeah. How many employees do you have right now?
I believe we're at 46.
Holy shit. Wow. God, I was not expecting 46. I thought you were going to say like 16 or something like that.
Oh, yeah, no, 46, dude, 46. Yeah.
You've gotten to the point where now I feel like you're the CEO of your company, right? I feel like as a CEO, right? Because being a business owner, you can be a business owner and step away, bring in a guy, be a CEO, and let that do its own thing, right? But being the business owner, but then also the CEO, I feel like there's levels to CEOs, you know?
There has to be.
You know, and the only way you advance is by, you know, you keep growing, right? But you're not going to keep the same type of system that you were with a 10-person group.
No way, yeah.
To then a 20-person group to then you know, you're just going to implement new systems, redefine systems, rebuild, you know. And so with 46 people, dude, I can't imagine how,
man, you
how
gotta
it is.
put, and it's crazy because it's like, yeah, you have to restructure the whole company so that it's all viable.
Yes.
The thing is, like, you know, you can have a company, but if your company isn't, you know, it isn't thriving, and if you're not, you know, meeting your goals and expectations for that company, then it's like, do you have a company or do you have a nonprofit?
Right.
What's the, you know, because I've had many conversations with a lot of people. It's like, dude, there's just no money. Like, we're not making any money. I'm like, well, let's look at your systems. Look at what you have in place. Like, there's something off. Like,
That's the problem that I run with a lot of business owners is that two things. One, when you start a business, one of the business owners doesn't want to give the business to someone else to handle, right? So they have a hard time giving some of that responsibility.
Letting go of the ropes.
Yeah, that's number one. Number two is the money thing, right? They don't want to pay more than what they think they should. So like, they'll pay someone, you know, whatever, $15 an hour and be like, that's good. Like, I can't pay you anymore. That's as far as you've gotten. Well, obviously you're not going to keep that person for very long because that person needs to find something that's going to advance their life.
Better thing, yeah.
Yeah. So what do you do? And this has always been my damn mindset on things like with money and whatnot. If I can't afford certain things, I'm not going to go out and look for something cheaper than that. Does that make sense?
Yep.
I'm not going to go, for example, if I'm paying I don't own a business, but if I was to pay someone $18 an hour, right? And someone came, or he's like, hey, I need a raise. I'm not going to let that person who I'm paying $18 an hour go because I know one, good employee, does great job, you know, does what I need, doesn't bother me. You know, you look at the good things about the employee. Sure. I'm not going to let that employee go and be like, I can't pay you anymore, and then bring someone and pay them $12 an hour where they don't know what to do. They don't, not a good employee. Stress. It's just like one thing with another, right? So you have to have the mindset of, I think, of, okay, what's worth it here? Is it worth it keeping an extra $1, $2 for myself? Or is it worth it keeping someone who I know I can count on, who I know will do the things I need done, and not worry about that person, you know? And yet again, it's crazy how it works because somehow, some way, life, God, whatever it is that you believe in, says, you did a good thing here, here you go. Here's the next project.
Yep, every time, man.
It's insane, right?
Every time. And that's why I said, dude, for me, you know, I look at it as, what do I want to give up time with my family for something so minor?
Yep.
You know, we implemented this thing where it's like, if somebody calls out sick, life, whatever, and somebody has to cover, it's like, hey, we're going to tag on an extra 4 hours on top of what you are.
That's awesome.
Like, because I realized, like, well, shit, if I don't want to step away from my family, why the fuck would this person want to step away from their family? But it's like, okay, we're going to make it worth your time.
Yeah.
You know, whatever you work, we're going to pay you that. Plus, we're just going to slap on 4 hours. We're always covering for this person. Damn. And again, just implementing little things like that, which little for me, big for somebody else, right? Yeah. But it's like putting my time where my time needs to be, being able to do things that I need to do or want to do, over just, hey, here's, you know, $120 that, you know, is $120 gonna, you know, impact? Probably not. So, you know,
right. Yeah. But it's something, you know.
It is.
And to someone like, you know, as an employer, or an employee, I should say, it's big when the boss comes to you and says, here's this. Thank you for your work. Because you feel like you're validated, you know, and you know, not only validation, but you feel like you're recognized, you know, because I've had it many times where I work with bosses where like, it's just work. And, you know, whatever they pay me, what I ask for when I go in and, you know, say, hey, I'll work for you, but under this rate. So it's fine, but then it's like, damn, dude, like you're really squeezing me out here. Like you're really, really using what I'm able to do, huh? And good to them, right?
For sure.
It's all fine, but it's badass when the boss says, "Here you go, dude." Also, like,
Just having that relationship is important, man. I can't tell you enough. Like, yeah, like for me, just whether it's, like a cool experience that I had Aaron, who's been with me for a long time. He was like, "We're just out at Texas Roadhouse, man. Sorry I missed a call from you or whatever." I'm like, "You're out at Texas with your family?" He's like, "Yeah, I think it's something for his daughter." And just called Texas Roadhouse. I was like, "Hey, for this table, let's go ahead and get that taken care of."
Yeah.
I love doing stuff like that, dude. I love doing stuff like that. Why is that people have been with me for the last 7-8 years? It's because it's like I'm making them feel like, damn, what other boss? And I try to think that way. I try to think outside of the box of like, whether I communicate with Aaron or not a lot on, on other ways besides on a personal level, it's just always, and you know what, if he leaves tomorrow, then can I bitch? No, because he's been with me for the last 7 years. It's like, that's a really long time. And I think just doing little things like that I do for all my employees on different ways truly helps like I said, giving that reception factor of this guy cares. And I think just taking that into effect for me, just letting everybody know, like, I care about you as a person and your well-being has been just a game changer, man.
What's a company of 46 employees or 40 employees or 30 employees? You don't have to give me exact number, but what's a company like that right now in the cleaning industry? What's it running numbers wise a year? Or what's it worth?
What's it worth? I would say you're probably in that range of 2.5.
2.5?
2.5 to 3.
So if I want to, so let's say I come to you, right? This is like a crazy.
Here we go. Let's do it.
Francisco, I've been seeing your company and I want to buy 10% of it. I'll give you 2.5. He said, let's round it up to 3. 3. I'll give you $300K for 10% of your company to buy in.
To buy in. What experiences or what things are you bringing to the table that's going to help us grow?
Marketing.
Marketing?
Yeah.
What companies have you marketed for?
Fuck. I'm getting nervous now. Let's see. This is all hypothetical, by the way.
Oh, for sure. I'm all like, sign the check right now, man. We're going.
I've marketed, fucking Once a Project Podcast, Imperial Paintings, which the name got taken at some point, Imperial Networks, things like that.
Nice, man. So why is it that you feel like you can bring value to my company?
Why is it that I feel that I can bring value to your company? Because we align in a lot of the same thoughts as far as mindset goes and as far as culture goes.
Perfect. And what is it that you are seeking to get out of this?
I'm seeking a long-term partnership with a passive income of a business that I believe can thrive within the next 10, 15 years because of the culture that's being built within the company.
Perfect. So do you feel...
This is like real, huh?
No, because like I said, we've had companies reach out that have wanted a franchise. So
this is why I asked. Cause
they've wanted a franchise, and so for me, it's like, well, why do you feel me and you would be a good partnership?
Why? Well, because like I said, we aligned on a lot of the same thoughts and thought processes and a lot of the mindset. But I just want to make sure that you know that I only own 10% and that you own 90% of it. So I wouldn't come in and try to take your position. I would be here to assist you and advise you on anything that you would need.
Perfect.
Hell yeah.
Hell yes. No, I like that. So tell me, what is some areas that you feel like you would struggle in?
With your company?
With our company. What's some areas of improvement that you feel like this is where I might struggle a little bit?
Learning the process of what the cleaning looks like, like in the grit of the cleaning, in the building of knowing step 1, 2, and 3. That would be my struggles of learning, just how the process starts when you step into a building.
No, I like that answer, and it's true. And you know what? Everything has a learning process. I feel like if you were trying to come in at a 10% with marketing, for me, I would want to probably set up, a short-term contract where I feel like you are actually going to be able to, you know, hold yourself accountable.
Yeah.
And whatever numbers you say, hey, these are the projections that I'm going to give you for you know, quarterly projections. If you go off quarterly projections, for me, I feel like 10, you know, for the offer that you're making, it makes sense, you know, 10% at 3, but also I don't want to bring somebody in that is only going to give me, half-ass work. So that's why I said I'd be willing to try, but it would have to be based on a short-term contract. And
what's a short-term contract?
I would probably say for marketing, it's not something that you're going to learn in 2 months. I would give you a year. I would give you a year to see, and I'd want, like I said, I'd want quarterly.
What do you do 2 years?
What I do 2 years?
How about this? 2 years at 350.
2 years at 350. I mean, if you think about it, if the company is already thriving and I've got somebody saying, hey, I'll give you 350 for 2 years of your time, I'm going to base that number off of, hey, if I go hire this company that is going to give me these exact projections and they've got a good run on it and they're willing to do it for less, that's the first thing I'm going to do.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not, and I think this is because I've put myself in this position before, but I would want to obviously shop around.
Right.
I think, hey, as a person, you seem like you're a really good person and you believe in what you're doing, but I have to put the company first, and I have to project on some real numbers and people that can bring me, hey, in month 1, we're going to take your business from here to here. What is, and here's a good question for you. In month 1, what would your projections be? Hey, this is going to be my goal for you, month 1.
How many buildings do you have right now?
I believe there is 49.
Okay, month 1, with my marketing expertise, I'd get you to, you said 49?
Mm-hmm.
I think I can get you to 55 buildings.
55 buildings?
Yeah, month 1.
Very nice.
That's what, 6th edition building.
So, no, and then what would your process be on that? What would you know, obviously we only stick to commercial, so we don't do any residential. So what would your process be on that mentally? Like, hey, this is how I have to approach this project. If I'm going to get 7 more accounts, what would be your mental process of like, hey, this is how I have to coordinate this?
Well, first I would reach out to the contractors I know. And the contractors I know are building buildings every month and a half. So that would be the first one. The second one would be expanding my network and going, out and talking to people, I guess.
Yeah, no, I like it, man. No, great. Hey, that's honestly like, because you have to think about it like.
I mean, I'm not gonna go fucking on Facebook ad and be like, hey. I mean, I will do that, but I would do that, but
Yeah, and I think and you know what, Google Analytics now, you know, Google Marketing has changed the game. I mean, there is so much, there is so many things that you can do now that you can track literally all your analytics of click rates and there's just a lot there. So I feel like the way, even if you because you have a business mindset, just going through that interview process, man, you did great.
Oh, thanks.
You did great because it's like
I'm like, damn, I'm a terrible negotiator.
No, like I said,
fuck.
no, like I feel like you really have to break down the process as a business owner, and you're like, well, I would reach out to this, and I would you're able to come up with realistic plans, you know, of how to do it. So yeah, no, that's just the biggest thing. Somebody comes at me and says, hey, I want 10% for this amount of money. My biggest thing is like, okay, the company will grow regardless. It's just a matter of who I want to bring in that, that can help us get to the next level. But also I feel like on a personal and business level, if you're not willing to if you're not willing to work just as hard as I am, then I don't want you on my team. I always compare myself to, it's like, hey, I'm willing to go to the death. I will not stop. I will keep going to make this thing work, and so it's like, obviously maybe you don't have to go to that mind, you don't have to go into that, but it's like believing in yourself and what you're doing and bringing to the table. Like if you're not willing to go, to the end of it, then why would I want you on my team? I don't want to drag somebody to the finish line. I need you to,
That makes sense.
help me get to the finish line.
Yeah. I saw, just last question, bro, before we go. Last 2 questions. I have 2 questions. Okay. First one is, I saw that you sponsored some things, connections therapy.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I know that you sponsored something else. I forgot what it was. But how does that work with the company? How does, like, do they approach you or do you approach them? And how does that work as far as sponsoring someone?
So that connections, that last one that we just posted about, so that was just a customer that I've had. So they were my very first customer cleaning.
Oh, cool.
And what we just did is because we've been with them for 9 years, I started doing like these, because they've got, and that building is super sweet. You know where on Sunnyside where Cages is at? They're building, there's a bank right there. I don't know what bank it is. ICCU right behind it. There's their building. It's huge.
Yeah, it's
dude,
nice.
If you've been inside of it?
No, I have not, but I passed it.
It's state-of-the-art building, man. It looks super cool. So they've been, they've got about 70 people that work there, maybe more. So we did, so a couple years ago, I started doing a big, like just as a thank you, started doing some street tacos there, and stuff like that. So that one was just kind of just a thank you lunch. But sponsoring, I've sponsored, it just depends on the situation. The last sponsorship that I did, it was his name was Miguel Badillo. He had he was going through some health issues right now. And so, known these guys since I was a kid. And so they had like this whole ride along thing, and, company was able to help on that kind of stuff. But I feel like more so, are you asking like, how does it help the company when you sponsor? I know they'll put your company name on shirts and
just kind of gets the
banners,
word out
so
there.
it kind of gets the word out there. But more so, man, it's because you're giving back to your community.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's big. Like, you got to be able to, like, this town has given us a really amazing opportunity. And so for me not to be able to give back, and especially for people that, that have helped you along the way in one way or another, or just giving back in general, I feel like just giving that presence of, in your community, I think that's big.
That makes sense. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, being involved with the community. You don't realize how big it is until you actually look into it and you're like, oh yeah, it might be good to get involved.
Yeah, because it's branding. I mean, think about it when on my hat, I don't know if you can see it, but it's like my lion. Yeah. That lion, again, it goes back to, people are going to see that and just be like, oh, that's Imperial. Like, and I think it'd be nothing but positive thoughts that come from it. Hey, this dude, it's like if you see me, it's like, oh, that dude's a grinder. He's a hustler, whether it's because I'm fit or whether because it's just, I'm in my gi, doing my gi, or if I'm just at home and my daughter's putting makeup on my face.
Yeah.
So I really feel like there's that branding in it on sponsoring is everything.
And how you carry yourself is branding too. So to me, that's what's very cool, I guess you could say, or just impressive, is that you're not just a regular business owner. You're a business owner who does a bunch of shit aside from being a business owner that is like not a lot of business owners do. Like the jiu-jitsu, the physical aspect, the mental, the way you think about things, that's all very impressive, dude. A lot of business owners get, fat. Let's just be honest.
They do, man.
And that's just the way it is. And, they don't think about the long-term vision like you do and things like that. So that's impressive to me. Last question, bro, is kind of what's your advice for kids, for people that want to, fucking do something?
I would say just, believe in yourself. My favorite book, and I'm going to touch on it, is The Alchemist.
Damn, for real?
That's my favorite book of all time.
I read that shit when I was in high school.
Yeah, dude. So The Alchemist, and it just talks about, you putting it out in the universe and believing in it. Man, I can't tell you how important that is to just really put it out there, to truly believe in yourself and pursue the things that are going to make you happy.
Yeah.
Don't, like, for me, like I tell my kids, don't fall for, stuff that isn't going to make you happy. Like for me, as long as my kids are pursuing something in their life, whatever that may be, as long as they're happy doing it, then I'm cool with it. Yeah. I don't care, go to college. I'm like, yeah, sure. If you want to go to college, then we'll support it. But if you found happiness in doing something else, then we're going to support that too. So I just really feel like coming from the back, dude, I was a troublemaker, and trouble. And so it's just to me, I find it crazy to be in the position I am today. But, you know, it was all those struggles that I went through and just kind of realizing like, hey, I have potential, and realizing that potential in yourself, and then really just pushing yourself to those limits of, damn, I know this is going to be worth it. Maybe not today. You know, like that Brandon Moreno UFC fighter. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know,
and
but
then he becomes fucking champion.
Dude, and then he becomes, and I was like, that shit is so real, man. You just have to work, be willing to work as hard as you possibly could have ever imagined. And dude, at one point or another, like there's no designated time. At one point or another, it happens. Like it transpires. But like I said, I think it's just a matter of, do you have the passion and do you have the grit to push for it? You know?
Yeah, the mental grit, huh?
The mental grit, man. If you're willing to endure, you know, like anytime I go train, man, it's like in a tough spot. It's like, am I willing to endure? You know, the other day we were practicing on somebody crushing your chest. Yeah. You know, until you've got somebody like literally right here on your chest, and you know all their weight's on you, and you're in that position where like can't breathe, like you know that's life, man. If you're willing to endure, not just be like, oh, I'm here, I need to get the fuck out, but it's like, what can, you know, just kind of think
what
about
are my options?
Yeah,
what can I do?
That's what I would say to those willing to pursue, man, is just believe in yourself, work your ass off, and you know just have the other biggest thing is having the right circle around you. You know, my best friends right now, you know,
how many best friends you got?
3.
Yeah, makes sense.
I've got 3. So Carmelo Gomez, he's a tattoo artist he's from here, moved to Richmond, Virginia. Crazy huge artist. Cruz Tinoco, he owns Indie Cuts. You know, and then OCL, man, you know, just having the right mindset of people, the right frame of you know, right thoughts, like get you thinking, checking you. Like you said, you had a friend that called you out and said you're out of shape. Those are the friends you want in your life, because they're the ones that are being honest and keep you in check. So
that makes sense, bro. Well, I appreciate you coming. This was a lot of fun, dude.
Dude, we gotta do it again.
We gotta do it again for sure. Instagram handles, where can they find you, or your website, whatever you want to give for Imperial?
Yeah, I just go to Imperial Cleaning Inc. You know, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, pretty much any social aspect of that. We're on there, YouTube. Find us, and you know what, reach out to us. And if you know, whether it's just a simple question on business, like I said, I'm super passionate about business. If you've got a simple question or wondering what you need to do to get something started, you just want to, you know, shoot shit and I have an idea, feel free to give us a DM, and you know, happy to help out.
Hell yeah, bro. Guys, thank you for tuning in. I fucking love this episode. This was awesome. This is great. Thank you for tuning in. Go check us out on Instagram, the OAP official, Brandon E. Lara, Jackie AAA CKE_. We're on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, and really any other platform under Once a Project Podcast. Also TikTok, Once a Project Podcast. And so, yeah, guys, thank you.
Thank you.
See ya. Damn, dude, that was awesome, bro. Holy shit.
Damn, bro.
¿Qué onda, banda? Yo soy Rodrigo Ramírez.
Y yo soy Jackie.
Nosotros somos de Alta Red, el primer podcast del sureste de Idaho en tu idioma.
En Alta Red sacamos temas diversos de entretenimiento, política, relaciones, salud mental, pero eso sí, todo con un poquito de humor.
Así que acompáñenos en Spotify y Apple Podcasts y suscríbete al canal de Rody TV en YouTube para disfrutar de los episodios nuevos cada martes.
Ahí nos vemos.